This episode is going to be a little different. You will notice that Ian is not with us. When we record, we usually record for about 3 hours. We have a loose couple of subjects that we want to talk about. As you've guessed, we go down a lot of rabbit holes. Both Ian and Mike have experienced more than their fair share of connection issues, which can get quite frustrating when you keep jumping in and out, to the point where sometimes you just have to go, enough is enough, and I've had enough for now. Which is what happened to Ian on this particular recording. And it was unfortunate because this is one of our most poignant episodes. Since recording, Ian and I have got together at his home and we think we've diagnosed the problem. And so hopefully next time we shouldn't have so much of this issue. Now, this episode was in answer to one of our audience who wanted to know if we'd had regrets about not saying something to someone at a particular time and why we didn't say it. So this episode is both sadly without Ian, it is our most poignant episode, and it does come with some warnings. We discuss both domestic violence and sexual abuse of minors. So please, go gently.
What was I going to say? I don't know now.
I don't know. What were you going to say?
Oh, we haven't discussed Darren. Well, we did it before, but it didn't come through, did it? Darren's question about things.
Have we ever regretted not saying something to someone, and why did we not say it?
Why didn't we say?
Yeah, look, I'll go last because you two know what I've got to say, and so.
No, I can't remember what I said.
I can't remember what I said either.
So have you ever regretted not saying to someone something that's passed away, or an incident happens, or a big life change, family thing, friend thing?
Oh yeah, okay.
Mine's a family thing, and I don't want to linger on it really too long, but I think I have touched upon this before. I have a sister who is completely estranged from. And I don't care if she sees this because she knows. But and Mike, you and I discussed this a bit when you came over here.
Yeah.
And it has all to do with the chap she married, albeit I use a different word beginning with C to refer to him. And he basically has wrecked my birth family. I haven't seen my sister for 20 years, I think. She didn't even turn up at my mother's funeral last year. And the guy is just an arsehole. He likes to portray that he's something that he's not and have you believe it. If you asked him what he did, and I witnessed him saying this many times, his actual response would be, he isn't now, but he used to say, "I'm a hard-nosed international businessman." Just a prat. However, and I think he upset all of my family, plus all of my parents' friends. And my dad and I really struggled with him, but my mother, in trying to keep the family together, would not let us challenge him. And so we didn't. And I wish actually we had, when my dad was still around, I wish we'd taken him into a room, shut the door and said, "Stop." Yeah, he was so disrespectful to us, that's the thing. Because he came from slightly better moneyed background. And I think if we'd have taken him into a room, nothing physical, I'm not suggesting that for 1 second, but just said, "Boy, you need to just show this family, your wife's family, a damn more respect than you do."
Yeah.
Do that, and things will be better. We never did. And here we have this situation. I don't have any contact with her at all, or her children. It's a shame. She's my only sibling. She was a little bit of an introvert. I think I'd accept if people think I'm a bit of an extrovert. So we were different in that respect. What knitted us together, we had the same sense of humour. And I do miss her, but I call her my ex-sister because the person she is now isn't the lovely girl I knew who was my big sister. So I regret that we did that. We didn't do that.
That's that.
It is sad. It's really sad.
It's sad. It's sad for a lot of reasons, apart from the fact that it's just your sister. But you say about not having contact with her children. That's your closest family member as such, and being childless, not by choice. not having contact with them as well is a huge loss for you.
It is, and both of them now have their own children as well, who are obviously my mother's great grandchildren. She never met them.
Yeah.
Just
That's
and they tell lies. She has no contact with any of the rest of the family. It's the guy's just. I've never met anyone quite like him.
As a narcissist.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And Sean's
Yeah.
quite up on that sort of thing, and she said he's absolutely a narcissist.
And the fact that your sisters, you said yourself, your sister's a bit of an introvert. She was a prime target.
That's a good point. Yeah. And he
Yeah.
completely changed her into a really hard, nasty person. And it's a real shame.
Because he controls her.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
control, isn't it?
Yeah. One of my cousins who did have a little bit of contact with her, but doesn't now. Is very suspicious that my sister is subject to, is it conversive control?
Yeah.
Coercive.
Coercive
control.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably the case.
Yeah.
He once said to me, "It's not what you are that matters; it's what you make people think you are that matters."
Correct.
And I look at life completely around the other way. I want you to see me for me, not what you think I might be.
But I think we all are on here, Mike. We're a bit like that. What I've learned from these conversations, we're all pretty much like that. We are who we are. I don't think any of us have got, putting on a front.
This is going to sound really, really harsh, and Sean hates it when I say this. But if I ever heard that he'd snuffed it, I'd actually have a party, because I think the world would be a better place without arseholes like that. And yet we've still got Putin. You get good people like 2 or 3 of my mates who died way too early last year, and you got arseholes like that and
live forever,
still breathing God's earth.
So
I'll stop now.
Yeah. And look, narcissists are everywhere. And unfortunately, if she was that introverted soul, she is susceptible. And then she is also pliable.
And
thank you for that, Lisa. I've never looked at it that way, but that sounds very plausible.
Yeah. And I've been on the other end of this. So I've been on her end of this. Not that I would call myself an introvert.
Not as a dog.
I sort of feel for her a little bit because you are very vulnerable. You want to please that narcissist, and you will go along with that, especially if there is family and children involved.
Yeah, he's probably happy, isn't he, that he's separated you?
Oh yeah,
because he's correct. There's a segregation there. That's right, because then he can't, and no one's going to pull him up on that control issue.
No,
because there's no connection there.
It all blew up shortly after my father died. I feel sorry
for her in a way, Sparky, for that reason.
Shortly after my father died, my mum was then living with her elder sister, who then got dementia. And Mum was under a lot of pressure, and that all happened within a year. And then my sister contracted breast cancer, and my mum went up to see them. They lived up near Manchester. I do know what happened, but I won't bore you with it. He ended up reducing my mother to tears. And
for caring.
Mum came home and
can't get rid of her.
I didn't hear about it until a few weeks later because Mum didn't want to tell me. But actually, Melissa, my first wife, had heard about it, and she said something one day and I said, "What's that?" And she said, "Oh, you weren't meant to know this, but she told me." So the next time we spoke on the phone, because he was giving weekly updates to me and me only, no one was allowed to phone the house when my sister was recovering. And I'm pleased to say she did make a full recovery. And I thought, I cannot let this go. You cannot disrespect us that much that you reduce my mother to tears. She's just been widowed. She's dealing with, an elder sister who's got dementia. Her daughter's got breast cancer. For Christ's sake, show some more respect. So I yanked his chain. And I said to him, I really don't want you to do that again. And you've incurred my displeasure. Please don't do it again. And his actual words to me were, "I shall still sleep tonight. I don't care about it."
Yeah, there you go. Don't give it to us.
And he would have done that, Sparky, because that way, the more he pushes everyone away, there's no one that can weasel their way in between him and her.
Yeah.
And then he weaponized his children by saying that if you don't apologise for that, you contact with our children for you and your mother will be restricted. And that's exactly what he did. And I said to him, you know what? There isn't one price I will pay to have you treat me and my family like that, rather that I won't pay. And if that's what you do, you go ahead and do it. And he did. And there you go. You do not do that.
Total control and isolation. That's exactly what he's done. As hard as it is, and I mean, I don't know all of your backstory, but if anything, I would say your sister's probably more a victim in this than anything, the same as everyone else.
Yeah. It's very sad, and what I think I kind of got over it, particularly with the kids. I don't care about that. I haven't seen them for years. Do their own thing. If they don't want to go and see your grandmother, then that's up to you. And the thing that really got me about it was it used to upset my mum so much, and that was the thing that got me. And now she's no longer here. At least I'm free of that pain. And I do think about it from time to time, but that's it. I will never see them again. I don't want to. That's the end of it. So, that was a bit long-winded. Sorry, but thank you, Lisa.
Right.
In particular, I really appreciate that.
Who's next?
Life is hard, eh? Really hard.
Oh, shut up.
What's that?
A street. What do they think it is?
I had that on Sunday morning. We all went up from this house here on Sunday mornings. We take the dogs out and go and find somewhere to have a coffee. And we went up to not a new place, a place we don't often go to, on the other side of the woods. And we were all sitting outside, lovely sunshine, having coffee and bacon sandwiches on Sunday morning. And a Hell's Angel group turned up with all their bikes. And then light aeroplanes were going over. I said, for fuck's sake, I come here for some peace and quiet. And one of the neighbours said, you're just becoming a grumpy old man. I said, guilty as charged. You
need to live in Cornwall.
This is a very straight road that I live on, Michael.
So they hammer up and down,
And before you get to the very end, there's a side street. And you can literally hear this, not that one that went past them, but this other bike. You can hear him hit that corner, and the noise by the time and I'm halfway up this long street, the noise by the time he hits my place and keeps going is horrendous.
Do you know where he lives?
No.
Yeah, go stick a potato.
Okay, you can put sugar in his petrol tank.
Yeah, or rice.
You know what? I'd be the stupid git that got caught. That would be me.
You should live where I live. I live right on the A1, which is the main road to Scotland. Is it a dual carriageway? I'm not very good at roads, but basically it's the end of my garden.
Whereabouts do you live then?
I'm in a little village called Great Ponton, about 10 minutes from Grantham.
Great what?
Great Ponton.
Ponton.
Ponton. Ponton.
Right, let's have a look. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
I like that.
I can't think of anything I wish I'd have said to anybody. Well, there's lots of things, but some of them are a bit too personal. I can't really say on here because people listen to.
Yeah, I've got a couple like that, as I explained to you offline. As I said last time, I suppose it's just I never stood up for myself as early as I should have, but I do now.
Yeah, but that's a learned thing, isn't it? As you get older, I still do bend over, to be honest. But
I don't want to hear about you bending over, Dawn.
No, you wouldn't want to either. But I do. I also find that I'm a bit of a people pleaser, like we've said before, and I'm still doing it. And I also worry that I'm not good enough and that nobody likes me. And then I'm like, oh, I'm really loud, and perhaps that really annoys people.
Do you want me to slap you around a bit for that?
Yeah, go on.
Oh, you're near Stanford then.
Go on.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
So where do you think that comes from, Dawn?
Childhood, I think. And this is hard because my mum and dad are still here, and quite possibly my mum could listen to this. My dad's never been one to build anybody up. He'll always go, oh, you could have done better, and if I'd have sent you to a better school, would you have done better? Not like, Dawn, you've done really well. You're a great mum. You're a great cook. It would always be, but if I'd have done that, wouldn't you have been better? And even now, when my dad's here and will talk to me and Tim, he will concentrate all his conversation at Tim because he doesn't think that I'm intelligent enough to have that conversation. So I've never felt good enough. And that's where my angst comes from.
Is that just you, or is that women in general?
My dad's ex-women. That's my dad. He's always put
No.
my mum down. My dad's a joker. My
It's a
mum,
generational thing.
yeah, my mum has always been the butt of his jokes. And when I've pulled him up on it, he goes, "Oh, she knows I love her. I'm only joking." But you're hurting her, Mum, Dad.
Yeah.
The things you say. "Oh, she knows I don't mean it." Don't do it, Dad. You know, and that's my dad, and I hate that about him. I love him dearly.
It chips away.
Yeah, you know, to the point where if he cooks a meal, "Oh, it's the best bollock gravy ever, best cannellini ever." My mum does say, "Oh, it's all right, but she could have added this and she could have added," and I look at him and I think, "Fucking hell, I could punch you. Love you, but fuck me, you're drawing buttons out of me at the moment." So I think that comes
Never
from
quite good enough.
no, and you know what, my brother, me and my brother joke about it. I love my brother dearly, but sometimes I always felt like he was the blue-eyed boy. You know, my brother would do something and I'd get the wallop for it, and it was, "Oh, you're older, you should know better." But I didn't do nothing. So
You're a girl.
yeah, and I make an effort with my boys to try and treat them all the same, or have done, because of
At least
how
some good.
I felt.
At least some good came out of it. My dad. We've talked about this before. My dad had that with his dad, my grandfather, and he did not want that with his own son, i.e., me. And by Christ, did he get it right?
Yeah,
He
well, I
really
wish my dad had fucking done it before me.
So,
It was a generational thing, though, for a long
Yeah, I think
time.
it was, yeah.
It was, you know, the Little Women were just there, and they were there just to
produce kids.
serve the male, you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah.
it's, you know, along comes female liberation.
Yeah. But I mean, he's not that, well, I suppose he is old. He's 82 now, so I suppose he is old, isn't he? So, yeah, and also for me, having past relationships with quite a few narcissists, I know, where
You see it in him now.
Yeah. And you know, I've had relationships where I've been physically beaten up, kicked the shit out of. And you know what really done it for me? And my mum and dad know this, but they are still in denial. So I had a relationship it's my first relationship with a guy who was verbally, physically abusive, really not a nice person. He used to beat the shit out of me. And I've had a few of them. And anyway, that all finished. Mum and dad knew what he'd done, but he was a tarmacker. And a few years later, me and my mum and dad and husband at the time went to Zeelander, which is near Holland. Is that right, Mike? Not really. And anyway, walking around, and mum and dad wanted some tarmacking done on their driveway. So they had two quotes. One was from the ex and one was from another guy. And because the ex was £200 cheaper, they gave him the job. And I was just like...
Even though they knew?
Yeah. I said, how the fuck? And like, Mum went, "What's the matter with you?" I went, "What's the matter with me? If my kids had been beaten up by a partner, do you think I'd give him a job to come and do my fucking house? No." They're like, "Oh, we didn't know about it." You fucking did. And that really hurt. So I've got so many things like that over the years. And like Tim says to me, "You need to let go." But I can't, because I'm so angry at that still. So yeah, perhaps I should have
Not
said
angry. It's not anger. It's that
let down.
It's a level of disrespect and a little level of denial, I suppose, for them.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So yeah, that's maybe I wish I'd have got rid of him a lot sooner and told him he was a dirty, horrible bastard. So I didn't stuck
does
with
it
that.
trouble you, though?
Huh?
Clearly.
Yeah, because I've got friends now who know the boy, know what he did, or the man now, and they all go, "Oh yeah, but so and so is really funny. He makes us laugh." And I go, "Yeah, but you knew what he'd done to me. If I was your friend and I witnessed once he kicked me from Southminster in the road to Burnham, and I literally laid in the road to get a car to stop so that I could get in the car, and the fucker got in the car with me, you know, and she knows it, and a few of my friends know this, but because he's funny, we like him, and I think if he'd done that to you, my friends, I wouldn't know. So yeah, look. Yeah. Unloyal people around. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Have you ever considered getting some help with it? How you feel about it?
I did counselling when John and my ex, were going through a lot of shit, and all I found with the counselling was that it brought up more stuff that I didn't really want to face. So I ended up feeling more angry about everything. So
that didn't work.
It's a shame you couldn't push through that.
Yeah, maybe I should have carried on.
I find sometimes, having had a lot of counselling, I think sometimes you've got to do it in stages, because part of it is that it does bring up stuff, because then what happens is you become, I think the secret is to desensitize yourself and not normalise the behaviour of the other person, but normalise how you're feeling, so that you don't feel the negative. You realise that, no, I am a good person. These shit things happen to me.
You stop being the victim.
But of course, you can't have all that. You can't have all that stuff come up at once, because then it'll be so overwhelming. So if unsolicited advice is that, look, maybe consider it again. But again,
because you do move past being the victim.
Yeah,
you
but
do.
You
come out
then,
the other side so much stronger.
I all right, I might carry. I don't. Am I damaged by it? No. Have I got more empathy because of it? Yes. It's called past. It is called past for a reason, and I have a future, so I don't live in that. But at the same time, when I had probably another 4 relationships after that, which were all pretty physical, some of them, you do start thinking to yourself, as I was told by certain people, it must be you.
Fuck.
Yeah.
No.
This is what's wrong with our society, is that we're normalising bad. We are normalising bad behaviour. We're seeing that here in Australia right now. We've got a really big problem with domestic abuse. Huge. It is massive. Yeah. And one of the problems is it's women aren't taken seriously. There's victim blaming. There's not other men standing up and going, this is wrong. Stop that. There's a lot of stuff that actually gets in the way of or assists those who are domestic violence perpetrators.
And you know what? It's so common. So fucking common.
Oh, yeah.
So
hell yeah.
Don't get me wrong, there is obviously women that abuse men as well. But then one of my future relationships after that one, he went on to be a barrister. And as soon as he used to drink Stella, oh my God, one instance, went down the pub, he was on Stella, he was sitting opposite me at the table, and I looked at him drinking this Stella, and I thought, oh, here we go. And I happened to look to the right, and he booted me under the table. And I was like, well, what'd you do that for? He said, who are you looking at? I was like, nobody. Went back to my house with his best mate, Andy, lovely guy. Got in my mum and dad's house because I was at home at the time. And he said to me, can you make me something to eat? I went, well, it's like 12 o'clock at night. I can't stop. Well, I want chips. And I bent down to the under-counter fridge, opened it to get me something to eat. He kicked me in the back, got a hold of my hair, pulled me backwards and stormed out the door. And his mate was, oh my God, Dawn, what the fuck was his problem? How long has he been doing stuff like that? I said, quite a lot. And he's like, why do you put up with it? And I ran after him. I'm sorry. What the fuck am I sorry for? So many of us out there. I've got so many friends that have been through shit, but we always blame ourselves. Why?
I'd urge you to reconsider getting some. Look, counselling doesn't take problems away; it doesn't solve problems. But the benefits I've found, it doesn't always work, but it gives you the tools to deal with it yourself.
Yeah,
and it's work, but I've benefited from it in that way. It doesn't take problems away, and it doesn't solve problems. It just equips you, maybe, and it is a maybe,
way to deal with it.
To deal with it in a different way, and actually feel better about it.
What I found, and I'll be honest, I've never been in a physically abusive relationship. Emotionally,
which is just as bad.
Well, can be.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mindfuck. When I started to see that, like you saying that you ran after him saying you were sorry.
Yeah.
When I started to see and understand that I was actually an enabler myself.
Yeah.
And took responsibility for that.
You can change it.
I let people treat me that way.
Yeah.
Right? I was then able to take ownership of that.
Yeah. Get that.
And then I was able to move forward. Because we do. We always, something like that, we want to know, we want to fix it. So we apologise for whatever. And
But it's not so not uncommon, is it? Because like I say, my friends have done exactly the same for years.
No.
And yeah, and to the point where her parents turned around to her and said, well, you must have encouraged him, or you must have said something for him to do that after he'd beaten the crap out of her. You're like, my God. Stop
we do. To fix it, we apologise.
Yeah.
Instead of going, oi, we've done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
At the time, in the moment, you apologise.
Mm.
And that just enables them to go, oh,
Carry
she feels
on.
sorry.
Yeah.
And carry on.
And it's a big circuit. And he's embarrassed now.
You need to break that cycle. Yeah, that's disgusting. Sorry.
Says it all, doesn't
But
it?
you need to break that cycle. And part of breaking that cycle is forgiving yourself for allowing it to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I met Tim, who's the most caring, loving, gentle man in the world. So, and it's
Beautiful.
probably made me who I am. I think I'm more, like I say, empathetic to people's shit.
Yep. So you need to be more empathetic to your own shit.
Yeah, but I'm not so good at that.
Yeah, well, this is why we're having this conversation.
Just think about maybe getting some help. Just have a think about it. When people ask me about it, which isn't very often, but I do this with most things in life, is there a downside? The only downside you've got really about seeking some help maybe is time. That's all it's going to, probably cost you a fee.
And also when I sought help with my marriage last time, we got divorced.
Well, yeah, but look where you are. You ended up with, you've just said, you've just described your husband, and that was actually...
Because this isn't about Tim.
No.
This isn't about Tim. This is about ridding yourself of all the heartache and the guilt and the pain of before.
Yeah. I don't think there's no downside.
But also, I think it also comes out in the emotion with me, like when my kids come here and when they go, then I sob. I think that's why I put all my emotion into that. It's like, oh, God, they've left me again. It's crying for 3 hours.
Look into it, seriously. There's no downside. I can't see a downside.
But I'm getting my counselling online for everyone to fucking listen.
We're not qualified as such.
You're doing a good job. Who is fucking qualified? We're qualified in life.
No, people are. Yeah, the last time I did it, I specifically wanted it to be a lady, which I did, and I got, and you might not get the right person, but I did, and she was just brilliant. She really was. It didn't solve the problem, and it actually was mostly about my arsehole problem.
And they're not going to fix it. They're going to give you the tools to help.
I have a different way of dealing with
through. Over to you, Mike.
All right. So the girls have heard this because we talked about it last time, Mike. And so the question was that someone's written into us as an audience member and said, "Look, have we regretted? Have we regret about not saying something, and why didn't we say it?" And I was about 16, I think, and here in Australia. So I'd actually just come out from Australia, so it was about 1981, 82, and in what you would call third form, we would call year 9. You go and do work experience, and so you'd go to the careers advisor of the school, and you would tell them what you want to do. And I was quite good at chemistry when I was younger. So I thought, okay, that's what I want to do. I want to be a chemist, as in like an industrial chemist. And then, so it's probably a good job I didn't do that, because being a risk taker, I might have been the whole Breaking Bad thing. But anyway, that's another story. But anyway, so I got work experience at a industrial chemist place here in Wollongong, and welcomed really well. There were 2 young fellas They were probably late teens, early 20s, who were working there as they were studying at the same time as working there, so they would be scientists, I guess you would say, later. They had a traineeship. There were two blokes that run the place. There was a woman on reception, and yeah, I got exposed to what industrial chemists do. And then what happened was one of the guys who owned it would say, look, you know what, why don't you come after school and come and, you know, learn this, and, you know, there could be a job for you at the end of it, and you could be, you know, have a traineeship like the other two guys. So, of course, like, wow, how good is this? Didn't know many people at the time anyway. At school was shit. School was rough and bad. And so, yeah, any positive you sort of latched onto. I won't get into the gory details, but to cut a very long story short, he turned in to be a kiddie fiddler and grew me to do his thing. And so what I didn't do is I never told anyone. I recognised eventually that what was happening, and I just stopped going. And my parents were like, why aren't you going? You know, he said there was a job there for you. Why aren't you going? I don't want to go. Don't want to go.
Oh, Mike, that's terrible.
And I recently told my sister this, because not many people know this, but now that my parents are, you know, they have advanced dementia, I feel I can talk about this now. And she goes, oh my God, I always wondered what happened then. Anyway, the regret is that I never told anyone.
No.
Yeah.
But I can, and I'm not quite sure if I was cognitive enough to think that I don't want to tell anyone because it will upset them. Because now, as a 50-odd-year-old guy, I can now say with certainty that if I'd have told my parents, it would have crushed them. Yeah. They would not have been able to handle that, because now I can see that, you know, they have a lot of baggage themselves from other things, and they would not have been equipped in life to be able to handle that. And so, my regret is not telling anyone. And so, as a kid, I was quite confused. It was like, why did I let this happen?
Blame yourself.
Was it me? And over time, and with counselling, I'm good that it wasn't me. I'm good that I was a victim. You know, I'm not making excuses for his behaviour, but I'm okay. I know I was groomed, and it was just unfortunate set of circumstances that put me in the way of this person. But yeah, the regret was that I didn't get any justice. But again, part of the question that we were asked is, why didn't you do it? Yeah, I'd like to think now I did it because the circumstances at the time, I took decisions that were best for me at that particular point in time. And so I don't feel too bad about that. I just have regret that I don't have justice. But having said that, there's some years ago, he was up in front of a magistrate for a lot of people come out of the woodwork, let's just say. And so, and then he's gone.
No, he's gone.
Oh dear. Oh no, he's back. Yeah. So when I think about that question we got from that person and about regret, I think it's a very, very personal journey you go on. It's a very personal. I believe you've got to understand that you were at that particular point in time in your life, you were doing the best that you thought you could do.
Yeah.
And so you can't beat yourself up about
something that happened then.
Yeah, you can't beat yourself up about that. You did the best you could at a point in time with what you had. And that's how, for me, that's how I've made sense of it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And you're right. And at the end of the day, though, there's no point regretting anything, because we wouldn't all be sitting here talking if we all had regrets and did something differently.
Regret is it's a damaging thing, emotion. It really
waste of time. Can't change it.
That's right.
But look at us all. We are a lovely bunch of people who've lived great fucking lives, and we've learned from some shit experiences,
Yeah.
and hopefully we will
And
learn.
like most people in life, we're a little bit fucked up.
Yeah, life's
Yeah.
a bumpy journey for everyone. Absolutely everyone. Life is a bumpy journey.
Yeah. No one's life's perfect. I don't care what they say.
No, if it is, it's bullshit. It's Facebook.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
me
that's
and
what-
Tim. When we go away in our motorhome, the first 20 minutes of getting off the drive, we just fucking hate each other. Because it's, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done this? Have you got that? No. And then we're off on the A1 and we're smiling. Oh, our life's so perfect. 20 minutes ago, I fucking hate each other.
You know, it's
Yeah, that's
It's a
what gets me about. I think about some of the stuff that I've been through. I think about some of the stuff Vicky's been through, and I think about the stuff that we've both experienced together. And I think, that it's all those experiences that have brought you to who you are. And I think,
Yeah.
I like to think we're a couple of nice people, and so I don't deny or forget all that stuff. So life is dirty, life is messy. It's not that perfect world, and so when I get those people that I like to call toxically positive, it gets on my fucking nerves. It really does.
Oh, look, I'm guilty of being positive, but I'm also guilty of being look, if I could be a unicorn in fairy wings and sparkly
Upside
dust,
down fucking wings.
I would. But I am also a realist.
Yeah. I think you've got to be a realist.